Have you ever made a man come so hard he forgot his own name? Not just a quick release, not just a physical reaction. I mean, the kind of orgasm that makes him tremble, that makes him let go of everything he's holding together, that makes him feel safe enough to fall apart. Most women have never seen that version of a man, and most men have never given permission to go there, because we've been sold this myth that male pleasure is simple, shallow, and automatic. That if you stroke him fast enough or moan loud enough, it's job done. But the truth, most men are starving for a kind of pleasure they don't even know how to ask for. And once you learn what it is, you will never look at sex the same way again. There is a place on his body most women skip, either because they don't know it exists or because they've been told it's off limits, too sensitive, too taboo, too much. But I'm here to tell you that spot is the key to unlocking a man's deepest, most mind-blowing orgasm. It's not just about nerves and pressure points, it's about permission, surrender, trust. And when you know how to activate that spot with the right energy, the right pace, the right confidence, he doesn't just feel turned on, he feels seen, exposed, electrified. And that moment becomes something he never forgets. The perineum, that's the technical name. It's the area between the base of his balls and his anus, soft, ridiculously sensitive, packed with nerve endings. It's directly linked to the prostate. And stimulation here, when done right, can trigger full body orgasms that make the usual Jacoma routine feel like a warm-up act. But here's the thing. This isn't about being kinky or aggressive. This is about slow, intentional, teasing pressure. This is about energy, connection, control. You don't just press and wait for fireworks. You build, you breathe. You let him feel you learning his body like a language he didn't even know he spoke. And that's what makes this spot so powerful. It's not just the physical sensation, it's the emotional reaction, because here's the raw truthing: most men have never had sex that lets them receive. They're used to giving, performing, thrusting, leading. But when you focus on this hidden spot, you flip the script. You tell him, this time you don't have to do anything. Just feel. That alone, that unlocks him. It melts him. And for the first time maybe in his entire life, he starts to associate orgasm not with effort, but with surrender there. Now, don't misunderstand. This isn't something you jump into without warming him up. There's an art to this, a rhythm, a slow dance between dominance and softness. Start by reading him. Is he breathing deeply? Is his body relaxing? Can you feel him letting go? Begin at his inner thighs. Work your way up. Let your fingers graze. Barely touch the edge of his pleasure zone. Tease the space below his testicles. Hold it, then back off. Let his body beg for more with outwards. Then when the moment is right, apply pressure with the flat of your fingers, not hard, not tentative, just enough to say, I'm here, I see you. What happens next will vary. Some men will twitch, some will moan, some will grip the sheets and forget their own names. Because this zone, when awakened slowly with confidence and when combined with oral or manual stimulation elsewhere, it creates an orgasm that pulses from the base of his spine through every nerve ending in his body. Some describe it as a wave, others as a collapse. But almost all of them say the same thing afterward: I've never felt that before. And here's where it gets even deeper. It's not just what you touch there, it's how you make him feel while you're doing it. This spot is sensitive, so personal, that the way you handle it becomes a reflection of how safe he feels with you. If you bring pressure, he'll bring resistance. If you bring curiosity, confidence, and warmth, he'll melt into your hands. Because for men, this isn't just physical, it's intimate. It's trusting you with the part of them they never show, the part that's usually locked behind masculine control, the part that's never asked to receive. You want to know what the real orgasm is for a man? It's just ejaculation. It's letting go fully with someone who sees him, touches him, loves him, not just for his performance there, but for the man behind the performance. That's what makes this experience unforgettable. That's what makes you unforgettable. And when you combine that physical pleasure with emotional safety, that's when he stops chasing porn distractions or empty sex, because suddenly nothing else compares to the way you make him feel in his body. So let me leave you with this. The reason most men have never experienced true sexual surrender isn't because they don't want to. It's because they've never had a partner bold enough, confident enough, or emotionally attuned enough to offer it. But you can be that woman, the one who doesn't flinch at his depth, the one who doesn't treat his orgasm like a button to push but a world to explore, the one who says, I want to take you somewhere you've never been. That sentence alone, that tone, that energy, that intention, that's foreplay, that's power, that's unforgettable. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time a man couldn't stop thinking about you after sex? Not because you were wild, but because you unlocked something in him that no one else even dared to touch. That's what happens when you understand the power of a man's hidden pleasure spot. That's what happens when you stop treating sex like a routine and start treating it like a ritual. When you stop just pleasing him and start possessing him, body, mind, and soul. Here's what most women don't realize men are used to fast orgasms. Quick friction based, they're goal-driven releases. They're used to being in control. In fact, most of their pleasure comes from being the one doing everything. They lead, they thrust, they dominate. And for a lot of guys realize that works till they experience something deeper, something slower, something that builds in waves, not spikes. That's the orgasm that doesn't just shoot through their body, but rips through their emotional walls. And it starts with the spot no one's been paying attention to. There. So what does this actually look like? Picture this. You've already built the tension. You already touched him in all the obvious places. His chest, his thighs, his neck. He's moaning. They're breathing deeper, maybe even squirming under your hands. Now you slide down, not to go fast, not to impress. You slow things down. You graze his inner thighs. Let your nails trail. Let your tongue explore the space around his base, just the edge of the perineum. He'll flinch. He'll hold his breath. That's your cue. He's never felt this before. The key here is rhythm. Don't go straight for pressure. Tease, circle, come close, then pull back. Let him beg in silence, because what you're doing is training his body to anticipate deeper pleasure. And then when you do apply pressure, whether with the flat of your fingers, the pad of your thumb, or even the tip of your tongue, you do it slowly, firmly, with purpose. Sync it with his breathing. Every exhale, push in slightly. Every inhale, ease back. Let the energy pulse through him, let him build. And this isn't just about sensation, it's about what happens next. When you stimulate the perineum, you activate the nerves that connect to the prostate. And when you do it while also stimulating the shaft, the head, or with your mouth, you create what's known as a hands-free orgasm. That's right. You can make a man come without even touching the usual places, just by building the energy there and letting it flood his system. The orgasm he experiences won't be short. It won't be a quick burst. It will be a wave, a full body rolling climax that leaves him breathless, twitching, helpless, and totally yours. That's not just sex, that's imprinting. And here's what's wild. When a man experiences this kind of orgasm with you, it rewires something in his mind. He doesn't just crave the orgasm, he craves you, your energy, your voice. Because now sex is no longer a thing he does to someone, it's something he experiences with someone. You've introduced him to a new layer of himself, one that isn't performative, one that isn't about being in charge, one that simply wants to feel. And you're the one who gave him that. That's why you don't need to be the most experienced. You don't need to be a porn star. You don't need to know every trick in the Kama Sutra. You just need presence. You need confidence. You need the willingness to explore a place most women avoid, because that's what makes you unforgettable. You're not trying to win him. You're not trying to be impressive. You're inviting him to be real, raw, vulnerable. And when a man feels safe enough to go there with you, his entire relationship with sex and with you changes. Now let's talk technique for a second, because this spot is delicate, but it loves pressure. Use your palm or the flat of your fingers to press into it while stroking him. Think of it like a button you're slowly pushing in, not jabbing. If you're giving him head, rest your free hand underneath, applying steady pressure to the perineum while your mouth works on the tip. If you're riding him, lean forward, cup his balls gently, and slide your fingers down underneath, adding pressure as you grind. The goal is to match rhythm, not disrupt it. Let his pleasure rise, not spike it. And watch what happens when he loses control. Watch how his face changes. Watch how his legs shake. That's what it looks like when you've accessed something sacred. And don't rush. Some men need a moment to adjust. Some will tense up. Some will hesitate. That's normal. It doesn't mean he doesn't want it. It means no one's ever gone there before with love, with warmth, with curiosity. So go slow to him. Use your voice. Say things like, I want to feel all of you, or let go, baby. Just let me take you there. Words are foreplay. Words are pressure release. And your voice, it becomes the rope that lets him climb out of his head and drop into his body. And once he's there, you own him, because that orgasm, the one you just gave him, it's not something he can recreate alone. It's not something he can find with a random hookup. It's unique, it's emotional. And now it's connected to you. That's how you become unforgettable, not just by being sexy, but by being the one who saw him, who touched the part of him no one else did, who gave him an orgasm that felt less like an explosion and more like a full body release of everything he's been carrying. So let me ask you again, have you ever made a man come so hard he forgot his name? Because if not, you're about to. So you gave him the orgasm, not just any orgasm, not the fast, friction-based kind he could get from his own hand, not the performative, ego-driven climax he's used to chasing. No, this one was different. This was the kind that made him lose control, the kind that made his whole body surrender, the kind that left him shaking, breathless, and clinging to your skin like you were the only anchor left in the universe. And now comes the part that separates a good lover from the woman he'll never stop thinking about. It's what you do after the orgasm that defines the memory. See, for most men, the moment after climax is a shutdown. It's silence, it's rolling over, it's tension. Why? Because they're not just releasing semen, they're releasing vulnerability. In that second, everything they were holding in, pressure, control, masculinity, dominance, goes quiet. And that's where most women miss the opportunity. They think the job is done, but the truth, that moment right after he comes, is everything. That's when his heart is most open. That's when his mind is most still. That's when you have the deepest access to the real him. So don't roll away. Don't wipe him off and get like it was a task completed. Stay, breathe with him, touch his chest, run your fingers through his hair him close, whisper something low and soft like, "You're safe with me," or "I love making you feel this," because those words, they sink in deeper after orgasm. Why? Because his emotional defenses are down. His brain is flooded with oxytocin. He's bonding, whether he knows it or not. His body is linking that release, that freedom, that feeling with you. Realize that that's the moment that imprints you on his nervous system. And listen, I know what you might be thinking. What if it's just casual? Realize that there. What if he's not my person? Doesn't matter. This isn't about making him fall in love. This is about knowing how to influence connection to you through sex. Because when you give him the kind of orgasm that most women are afraid to give, and then follow it with warmth, presence, and aftercare, you're not just satisfying him, you're seducing his mind. You're creating a loop in his brain that says, this woman at safety, this woman release, this woman home. And when a man feels that with you, he chases it. He'll text you even when he doesn't know why. He'll want to see you again, not because of sex alone. You become replaceable. And you don't need to overthink it. One phrase, one look, one soft exhale can change everything. Say something as simple as, "That was beautiful," or "I love watching you come undone," or even just, "Stay right here with me." That last one, that one hits hard. Because the truth is, every man is secretly waiting for a woman who doesn't need him to perform to be desired. Who can witness his rawness, his mess moons, his trembles, and not pull away, but lean in closer? That kind of safety, that's rare, that's sacred. And when you offer it, you give him the kind of sexual experience that doesn't turn him on. It anchors him to you. Let me tell you this straight. Orgasm is not the finish line, it's the door. Most women walk him to the door, but don't take him through it. They give him the climax, but not the connection. And when you do both, you become unforgettable. Because now, it's not just about how you made his body feel. It's about how you made his heart feel right after. That's the moment he replays. That's the moment he relives in the shower, in the car, in his dreams. That moment of exhale, that feeling of being held, that whisper that stayed in his ear long after the sheets went cold there. And no matter how hard he tries to recreate that with someone else, he won't be able to, because what you gave him wasn't just orgasm, it was freedom there. So if you want him chasing you, not just for your body, but for your energy, don't stop at climax. Take him through the afterglow. Stay where most women leave. They'll love him when most women hesitate, and hold him where most women disappear. Because once he learns he can fall apart with you, he'll spend the rest of his energy chasing the next moment you'll let him. Here's the truth no one tells you: sex isn't what makes a man stay. Orgasm isn't what bonds him. And the pleasure spot, it isn't just between his legs. The real pleasure spot, the one that leaves him hooked, that makes him want you and only you, isn't physical. It's psychological. It's the experience you create around sex, the emotional texture, the permission you give him to feel, to unravel, to come not just with his body, but with his soul. When a man meets a woman who touches that spot, who makes him feel safe, wanted, respected, and seen in the exact same moment that she's turning him on, realize that's the woman he thinks about when he thinks and when he's with someone else. The woman he can't forget, no matter how long it's been. And here's what women don't realize: when you combine physical mastery with emotional intuition, when you know exactly how to make him lose control and then make him feel completely safe while he's lost, when you unlock his most private, forbidden nerve endings and still make him feel like a man, you don't just satisfy him, you change him, you rewrite the script of what sex even means to him there, because he's never had a woman be both his fantasy and his sanctuary, his seductress and his healer, his fire and his softness there. And when he finally experiences that, he doesn't know how to go back to anything less. So let's bring it full circle. Let's talk about the male pleasure spot, the one behind the ego, the one most women never think to touch. It's his prostate. Yes, it's physical, but it's also psychological. It's the play his body betrays his pride. It's the place where control slips, their dominance collapses into surrender. And that's terrifying for most men, but also that's where the most profound release lies. When you go there, you're not just giving him pleasure, you're asking him to trust. You're inviting him into a place of surrender that most men never access, even alone. And if you hold that space with love, with power, with deep presence, you become the first person in his life to unlock his full capacity for pleasure, and he will never forget that. But you don't even have to go there to touch his soul, because his true pleasure spot, the one that haunts him, is emotional exposure. It's being naked in a way he's never allowed to be. It's hearing, "I love how vulnerable you are with me," instead of "you done yet?" It's moaning without being judged, crying without being ridiculed, trembling without needing to explain why. And if you're that woman, the one who can turn him on and turn him inward, you don't just give him the best sex of his life. You give him the first time he's ever felt like sex mattered. Because real intimacy doesn't just make his body climax, it makes his soul come alive. So stop chasing validation by being hot. Stop performing to impress him. Instead, create impact. Give him something no other woman dares to. Not just orgasm, but transformation. And you don't do that by having the best moves. You do it by being the only one who knows what those moves win. You show him that he can fall apart and still feel powerful. That his vulnerability isn't weakness, it's worship. That his pleasure isn't embarrassing, it's sacred. That with you. He doesn't just get sex, he gets freedom. Realize that there. And once you give him, he'll never just chase you, he'll crave you, he'll need you, and he'll wonder for the rest of his life, how did she know me so deeply when no one else ever even tried? That is your power. That's the pleasure spot you touch. Not with your hands, not with your mouth, but with your presence, your energy, your fearless emotional seduction. And once you own that, he won't just come for you. He'll never want to leave.